Yeah, and he was having an issue with his email. Back to this. It was down the road. Okay, thanks.
He says, well, we got hundreds of them together. So I said, so I see you do this. And she said, that's over here. I got it here.
That's still going. How are you?
He said the real challenge is over. We got all the all as well. She said, I'm done. We're getting all this is great. So talking
Hey, Bill, how are you? What's going on?
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
She's getting up there, man.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we always.
Oh! You know, and I think she yelled at me, and I took her back. She's like, kind of all of a sudden, as he turned around, yeah. And it was all out. And, so walking out was this because he has no contract.
Yeah, that's funny. I'll tell her. He waits there, everybody, and I'm like, why do you wait? And he said, because, not John Murray Jackson, but John Murray Jackson's brother said, no, wait, he's going to say, well, you didn't wave at me. And Jay Jackson, and, he said, so, is there any way, he says, half of them you can see, half of them you see. And he was like, I waited everybody down, and so I'm like, James Jackson, you're a smart knowledge. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, realize I'm trying to incorporate more things on. After the wires, I had to do everything else. Probably like and it's like all those moments in between, like where everybody's just kind of the world. You know what you can get it in conference and make
Hey,
Yes. I still have, just wait for it. And the last reason is, in class. Yeah. What
Yes, that's one of the first letter, yeah. Split city too. Trying to find wrong city in the church. It turns out that Ray's partner, the late.
I'm just thinking about you.
Can I borrow Additional natural literacy. I'm over literacy. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Grange. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation today given by Patty Youngblood. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right? Mysterious God who comes out of the misty morning of a day like this to say we're okay, and that there is hope, and life is worth living, and that you care about us. Help us as Rotarians take the marvel of this almost autumn day, with all its splendor and with its wistful wonder, as a sign of your caring, not just about us, but about all the world's children. Help us to care about people who hurt. Give us a conscience about the cruelty of war. Show us how we can be healers and reconcilers and lovers of the world. Let our sharing together around these tables make us better able to be your servants in this tough world today. Amen.
And to introduce our visitors and guests, Cheryl Mack.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. We don't have any visitors today, but I just want to say I hope everybody goes to the
Yes, all right. Well, then now it's time for birthdays and anniversaries. Let's see, on September 20th, Sandra Taylor had a birthday. Member anniversaries, Father Tim on the 20th, 4 years. Clark Johnson, 43 years on the 20th. Congratulations, Clark. Bill Martin, 18 years on the 17th, and Holly Winter, 1 year tomorrow. Holly, congratulations, 1 year tomorrow. And then we have some wedding anniversaries. Curtis and Chandra Brown, 10 years on the 17th, and Tom and Pat Malone, 59 years today. So congratulations, everybody. I do have just a couple of announcements before we get started. One, just please be reminded to silence your cell phones. On the 30th of September, the Boy Scouts are having a dinner to honor Spear Burdette. We have a table with some seats available. If you're interested, let me know today. If you do attend, that will count as a makeup as well. So, but I need to give them our seating list today. So if you're interested and would like to participate on the 30th at Delaware, let me know today and I'll send that in to the Boy Scouts. Also wanted to let y'all know that September 21st is the International Day of Peace. And there's a new project going on in Rotary that goes live on the 21st. It's the largest local peace building initiative in the history of Rotary. They're working with kids to get them thinking about working together towards peace at a younger age so that it's kind of second nature to them. If anybody knows about teaching language earlier, it just becomes second nature. They're trying to get kids to be thinking about peace before they have to actually use it. So that kicks off next week. Right now, there are 277 high schools and youth clubs representing more than 250,000 students that are signed up to participate in this. We are sponsoring the Interact Club at True County High School to help them work on individual modules and group modules to start thinking towards peace. We will have a video that we'll share a little bit later about the program and the progress that it's making. So that, I just want to let everybody know that starts next week on September 21st, so we'll keep you updated on that. But it's a big deal in our district and in our zone that's really spearheading this project. John Harrell has an announcement.
Thank you. September is still National Literacy Month. If I were to say Paris Graffiti Legend of LaGrange, there's some cards on your table. That's Greek to me, and that's Greek to you as well, but that means Rotary Club of LaGrange. Take a look at these. What I've done is to hopefully provide each of us a little bit of an opportunity to maybe step forward and embrace and support one of the many literacy efforts that is currently going on in LaGrange. Put the different things that are going on right now and some spaces on the back, if you would, to put your name and a contact number, just so we can reach out to you and speak with you. There's several things that are wonderful that are going on. Right now, I know the Success by Six is one of the big pushes to have kids reading on grade level by the third grade. 35% are not. Our high school dropout rate is still high. We want to be able to bring adults who have not gotten their GED and have not graduated from high school back to get that. The opportunities have shrunk over the last 50 years for someone who's not literate, who does not have a high school diploma. And I think each of us can do something to hopefully further literacy efforts. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, John. We do have a couple minutes for happy hour. If anybody has anything to share. Step up to the podium so the folks on the camera can see you.
Good morning. How's everyone? Good. Tomorrow, we're having in the Catholic Church at St. Peter's a Blue Mass, and the Catholic Conference of Bishops at 9/11, 20 years ago, really encouraged the bishops and pastors of local areas throughout the United States to offer a time to pray for our first responders. Remember, our Rotarian slogan is service before self, and our first responders, whether it be police, firefighters, or EMTs, they do a great job in our community. I would like to extend an invitation to you to come tomorrow at 6 o'clock for a mass. You know, we're not going to receive communion, just we have a refreshment afterwards. I know we're not going to be a super spreader, but we try to wear our masks and what we can do, especially. So please, if you can come, we'd love to have you join us. You don't have to be honoring Catholic for a day, but you don't have to be Catholic, come to church. You worship saints, you worship idols. We're the saints, worship God. So be afraid, and I'm just inviting you to come and as a community. So Chief Director Mark is going to be there, and other people as well. So I want you to come. We didn't have it last year because of COVID, but this year we're trying to open up a little bit more. So we already have invitations that was usually a nice gathering to pray for our first responders and get tribute to them in a positive way, because they do so much for our community. So I want, as a pastor, and also to invite you to come. So please come. 6 o'clock. What day? Tomorrow. Thank you.
And I'm excited, next Tuesday, September 21st at 7 p.m. on GPD and PBS, our documentary, A President in Our Midst, Franklin Delano Roosevelt in Georgia, will be on TV. Rotary Connections, in addition to my being the screenwriter and the co-executive producer, include Taylor Merrill's Carr and Ann and Ted Beeson were supporters. John Harrell has seen it. So it's great. So next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Well, I have a happy dollar to thank all of you who came out to the United Way kickoff on September 1st. Really appreciated your participation. And we have a day of caring. We're going to do our first ever day of caring on September 30th. So before you go to the dinner to recognize Spirit, you can come out to Calumet Park. We're going to start about 8:30 in the morning. You can work an hour, you can work all day. We've been working with the Parks Department, and they've got a list of projects that they want done in Calumet Park, and we're going to see how many of those we can knock out. If you prefer not to be outside, we have a couple of projects. We have Reality View with communities in the schools. That starts at 8:30 in the morning, and you can sign up from 8:30 to 11, or just from 8:30, no, it's 8:30 to 11:30, 8:30 to 10, or 10:30 to 11:30. They're going to do their reality program with the kids at Callaway Middle School. Or if you really want to push back into it, Success by Six has some bookcases that they need moved from the second floor of the Bank of America building down to the first floor into their preschool area. So we've got lots of projects and we'd love to help. Thank you.
As you entered the club today, you probably saw a big replica of the raffle ticket on the front, the table at the front. That is the raffle for the Hospice LaGrange Ely Callaway Golf event raffle to give away a set of golf clubs, a 2-night stay with 4 rounds of golf at King Prince Hotel in St. Simons. A 1 night and a day pass for your family to go to Great Wolf Lodge, and another one is a day pass for 4 to the Great Wolf. And the last one is a year's worth of membership in Highland Country Club if you're not already a member. The tickets cost $25. As an added incentive today, for you only, I'm going to put $1 in the happy thing for each ticket I sell here today before you go home. So, and if that's not enough to give to Hospice, Hospice is a wonderful charity. It does so much good, not just for those that are passing away, but for the families that remain. And if you don't buy one of those tickets today, or even if you do, put Hospice on your donation list for the year end to the West Georgia Health Foundation. Thank you.
$2 bill to support literacy. Well, every time I hear about third graders not reading on the grade level, I remember a presentation I heard years ago, and it was given by the gentleman who was head of the department of corrections. And somebody said, "How do you estimate how many prison beds you're gonna need going forward. And he said, we've looked at the number of kids in the third grade, can't be in grade level, and that's how many prison beds you're gonna need, so support livers.
Yeah, that'd be nice if we ordered less prison beds. And Father Tim, thank you for doing that. I was lucky enough to attend the Valor Awards last week, which was a fantastic event out of Great Wolf. And I got the sense that I always took for granted that we recognize our first responders in this town. And I kind of got the impression that it's pretty rare that a town says thank you to those folks and their families from everybody that I was talking to. So thank you for doing that. And then took the kids up to watch the firefighters walk the steps on 9/11 that morning. And I like to see there was firefighters not just from Truth County and LaGrange, there was Catala and Coweta and different. And so it was nice to see that. It was a good teachable moment. We do have some business to take care of here in Rotary. We're lucky to induct a new member, Kathy Till, today, so I'll ask Susan first and Kathy to come on up here so that Susan can introduce her to the club.
I think everybody knows Kathy. I don't know if you know that she is a prior member. 16 years ago, for a couple of years, she was a member and then had to leave us. But she is now the president of Visit LaGrange, Inc., which is our official tourism marketing agency. And prior to that position, she was the interim president of the LaGrange County Chamber of Commerce, and I know firsthand she did a fabulous job there because I volunteered out there while she was working. And then from 2013 to 2020, she was the executive director for the Truth County Center for Strategic Planning, a nonprofit corporation led by leadership in government, education, health, and economic development. She will tell you that the bulk of her career was at Callaway Gardens. She started in 1990 when she was 8, I think, as the public relations manager for the Ira Case and Callaway Foundation. She was there for almost 20 years, rising to the vice president of sales and marketing over the gardens, resorts, and neighborhoods. She holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Georgia. She's lived in LaGrange most of her life, and she's married to her high school sweetheart, Cal. They have one daughter, Chandler, who is a medical device sales rep in Atlanta. So please join me in welcoming her back.
So the proposals have all been reviewed in accordance with our Constitution and the bylaws of our club. So Kathy, we now are glad to admit you to membership to the Rotary Club LaGrange and really Rotary throughout the world. You know from being here in the past that it's about service above self. You already lived that. That's why we wanted you back in this club, because we feel that you exhibit that already and continue to do that in the history of Rotary and LaGrange. So we are very glad to have you. I'm going to give you some information here. This is just a welcome kit. And then I'm going to ask Kay to come up and read to you the 4-way test and a plaque that hopefully you will put in your office with some of the things we believe.
And Kathy, I'm happy to officially welcome you to the club. We have this plaque in your office, and we always use this time to remind our members of the Rotary 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Welcome.
Thank you very much. There's also a lapel pin in there that hopefully you will wear when you're out. We'll get some pictures.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome. So now I'll ask John Harrell to come up and introduce our program today.
Thank you. Bethany Hedrick has served as executive director and head of school at Hillside Montessori since 2012. She worked with a group of women to open the school as they recognized the need for more options in education in Truth County. Since its inaugural class 9 years ago, Hillside Montessori's enrollment has increased fivefold, and programming now includes preschool through 8th grade. She's a second-generation Montessori administrator, as her mother, Pat Dedrick, was director of First Presbyterian Montessori for 15 years. Bethany's formal education began at school, and throughout her years as a student, she has reflected on the great impact the Montessori experience has had on her life. Bethany and her husband Rob have 4 children, one in elementary school, one in middle school, one in high school, and one in his 20s. Bethany has served on the advisory committee for the Chattahoochee Riverkeepers Floating Classroom. She's currently on the board of directors for LSTA. She was a 2018 graduate of the Leadership Troop class, was named one of Troop County's top 20 under 40 in the program's inaugural year, and has just begun as West Georgia Health Insider when the pandemic started in 2020. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in English, Master's in the Arts in Teaching, both from LaGrange College, and a Montessori certification from the North American Montessori Center. She's currently enrolled in the School of Management and Leadership program at Harvard University. She's very excited to build a beautiful new school campus in LaGrange and thankful for the opportunity to work in this community. Please join me in welcoming Bethany Hedrick.
Thank you, John, for that introduction. John was one of my bosses for 6 or 7 years. We miss having him on the board of directors, but learned so much from working with him over the years. I appreciate the invitation to be here with you guys today. It's been since before the pandemic that I was in this room with the Rotarians, and I always learn so much when I'm here, have the best conversations, and really appreciate being invited to come back. I already know I have more that I want to talk to you about than we have time for today. I've asked Henry to watch the time for me and let me know. I had dinner with my parents last night and mentioned that I was coming here, and my dad said, Bethany, the worst thing you can do is talk longer than they want you to. So last night I went home and started scratching things off my list of things that I wanted to say. I understand how valuable your time is, and that everybody has to get back to work. There's a lot I want to say, but I'll try to make it quick. John, thank you for helping me with that. You can go to the next slide, if you will. There are several reasons, but 2 reasons that the timing is great for me to get to talk to you guys right now, celebrating 2 important anniversaries in our community, important to us at least this year. It is the 45th anniversary of Montessori in LaGrange, 45 years ago. First Presbyterian Montessori was founded, and coming up on the 10th anniversary of Hillside Montessori in LaGrange. So I want to talk to you today about the histories of both of those schools and how they're interconnected, and also what makes Montessori unique and how our community benefits from having options for education, including Montessori. I'm going to focus more on our adolescent program today because a lot of people are more familiar with Montessori at the preschool, kindergarten level than at older levels. So I want to kind of go in depth with you about that. And really what I'm supposed to talk to you about is that we're building a school, and we're very excited about that. And I want to give you more information about our timeline and what that project looks like. So that's an overview of my plans for today. Let's see, so I'll start just a brief history of, we can stay there, it's fine. Just a brief history of how Montessori came to LaGrange, because I think this story is always interesting to people. Everybody knows Dr. Bob Copeland and his wife Jenny and all the contributions they've made to this community. Well, when Dr. Bob was doing his cardiology residency at Massachusetts General Hospital, preparing to be a doctor, he and his wife enrolled their sons, Theo and Hayden, in a Montessori school there. At the time, Jenny's sisters, Jackie and Roxy, were living here in LaGrange. And Jackie was an English teacher teacher at LaGrange High School, so she was an educator. They went up to Massachusetts to visit Dr. Bob and Jenny, and Jackie was so impressed when she visited her nephew's Montessori school, so impressed with what the boys were doing, what the students were learning, that she started researching Montessori and decided to open a school here in LaGrange so her son could have the same experience that her nephews were having. So that's the history 45 years ago, how Montessori came to LaGrange. I was fortunate to begin my formal education at that school when I was 4, and then my mom, when Jackie retired, my mom took over directing that school. And so the history of the school I feel very personally connected to. Just like Mrs. Jackie Dodd, I was an English teacher at LaGrange High School when I began contemplating the possibility of a new school in our community. I had my second son was enrolled in First Presbyterian Montessori, and he was thriving, and I started talking to other parents whose children were thriving in that environment and were interested in options for allowing them to continue learning in an environment that really truly met their needs. And that's how the seed for Hillside Montessori was planted. We know that necessity breeds innovation. There was a need in our community, and we were inspired to find a way to meet that need. So many months of research and strategic planning followed that initial inspiration. Of course, there were many failures to launch along the way and more unexpected challenges than we initially prepared for. But we incorporated as a 501c3 in 2011 and then enrolled our first students in 2012. So that's kind of the founding, the seed that started Hillside Montessori. So our very first source of money, funding, came from a yard sale that we had that year that we incorporated, and we raised $700, and that's how we opened Hillside Montessori bank account. With $700, probably a good percentage of that was in change, like quarters and nickels. So we opened our first banking account for that. We have been fiscally responsible and viable since the very beginning, operating in black since we made that initial yard sale deposit. Over the past decade, we have accrued $1.3 million in net assets, and we are very grateful owners of 13.6 acres of land, thanks to a generous gift from the Callaway family members, and we are actively in the process of building a new campus that will become what we hope one of the community's outstanding landmarks and a beacon for those who value education and sustainability and community outreach. So if I stopped there and left you with just that information, you have a short, sweet summary of where we came from and where we stand now as a school. But what I really want to convey today is how children and adolescents benefit from a Montessori education and how our community benefits from having Montessori schools in it. I feel that it's a great privilege to work and live in a community that has grown rich with opportunities for education. With Troup County School System and Lafayette Christian School and LaGrange Academy and other options, I feel like the families of Troup County have choices, and those choices push all of us to have stronger programs, and stronger school programs result in stronger students. And so when I speak, usually with strong conviction of the amazing opportunities that students are afforded at Hillside Montessori, I do so with full recognition that children in the other schools in this community also have very amazing opportunities, and I am grateful for that. So I want to talk a little bit in a few minutes about what sets Montessori apart from other approaches and why our practices and philosophy are directly in line with what leading experts recommend for 21st century education. So the slide that Jaja has up right now, those are the terms, the phrases that you often hear connected with Montessori education. These are key components that are present at all levels, whether we're talking about children in preschool, kindergarten, elementary level, middle school, or high school. Hands-on learning, student-centered multi-age classrooms, real-world experiences, individualized instruction, the prepared environment, uninterrupted work periods, character building curriculum and engagement, rigorous academics, and creativity and innovation. So those are the key components of Montessori education. If only for the reason that we've had a Montessori preschool and kindergarten in our community for 45 years, many of us have at least seen images or somewhat familiar with what Montessori at the preschool and kindergarten level looks like. These are some images of children at that level in the Montessori early childhood education or classroom. There are highly trained teachers that create a customized environment crafted to the unique interests, abilities, and learning styles of the children that are in it. So this approach to learning is a hands-on approach that Dr. Montessori believed in modern science has now affirmed that moving and learning are inseparable. So in these Montessori classrooms, children work with specially designed manipulative materials that invite exploration and engage the senses in the process of learning. All learning activities support children in choosing meaningful and challenging work at their own interest and ability level. And this child-directed engagement strengthens motivation, supports attention, and encourages responsibility. Again, families in this community have had this option as a choice for over 45 years now, and thousands of young people in this community started their formal education in classrooms like these that you see up here. Thank you. So Hillside opened so that children could continue their education through the elementary years. And at the elementary level, which for us is 1st through 6th grade, all of those components are present. They just look a little bit different. You see older children doing more advanced activities. Psychologists refer to this plane of development as the second plane, and children at this age are very driven to engage socially with their peers. So instead of working against that, we embrace it by intentionally creating a collaborative work environment. Students in this plane of development often learn best when they're interacting with one another. They're also in a stage where they're trying to figure out their place in the world, so it's very important to make the curriculum relevant to them. They need to understand how academic subjects are interrelated, how they're a part of a whole, and how learning each subject makes it possible for the children to make a difference and to do meaningful work in the world. Learning at this stage and all stages moving forward truly needs to be meaningful to the student. When they were younger, in the slides that I showed you previously, they were just absorbing information around them, using their senses to learn, but they weren't yet asking, why is this important? Why do I have to learn this? At this age, they're asking those questions. So you see these 1st through 6th grade students doing, in these pictures at least, doing geometry, geography, working on collaborative research. You see a lot of science. Students love to understand the world through hands-on science and all those processes, scientific method and processes of inquiry, help them in other academic areas as well. So our curriculum is heavy in science, even at the youngest levels. By the time our students are in middle school, they've been immersed in zoology, and botany, and physics, and chemistry, and earth sciences. And I very rarely talk about test scores because we choose to focus on other ways of measuring student progress. We don't want to get tied down in numbers and set certain expectations and have children focus on the numbers or the parents focus on the numbers. But in just looking at our test scores that came back the other day, our students in 2nd through 8th grade, their science scores on the ITPS ranked them in the 95th percentile of all schools in the nation. And you can see them at work in that area on this slide. So before I go into the adolescent program and show slides of our programming at the middle school level, there's a quick 5-minute clip of some of our faculty members answering frequently asked questions about Hillside Montessori. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to hear from them as well. And one thing I like to point out about the people that work at Hillside Montessori is that over 50% of our faculty comes from communities outside of LaGrange. So we have people commuting from Union, Carrollton, and Atlanta, and they could easily commute north and earn a lot more money working in private schools north of LaGrange, especially in Atlanta, but they choose to come here to LaGrange to work instead. And when I talk to them about that and ask them why, because I'm well aware of the opportunities that are available in Atlanta, I repeatedly hear them say they've never worked in a school that is so strongly connected to and supported by their community. And that draws them here to Hillside Montessori. It's the community surrounding our school that they're attracted to. From everybody from LaGrange College to Callaway Foundation to Chattahoochee River Keeper, all the local businesses and organizations that are supportive in some way of our programs, those connections are drawing professionals here to our community. So I think that's a strong testament to our city. We even I had a teacher who sold her house in Atlanta and just moved to Gordon Circle the other day, and another family who has their house in the market who's coming from Union to LaGrange. And so congratulations for such a strong community that's attracting people down here. So Jaja, if you'll click the next one, please.
There you go.
At Hillside, we do use the Iowa Test of Basic Skills, and that is a standardized test. We started in the 2nd grade, and it continues through the 8th grade. And we use it for 2 reasons, really. One is just, it's a practical life skill, just knowing how to take standardized tests and multiple choice. This is just something that we're going to have to know how to do in life. And the second thing is that once we get 2 or 3 years of this test and the way that we administer it in a consistent manner, it gives us another good assessment tool to assess where the students are. So at Hillside, we go through the 8th grade, which allows for a smooth transition into high school. But regardless of what age your student transitions to a new environment, at Hillside, when they leave here, they are academically sound and have developed the social skills necessary. They have a good sense of self, and they know how to effectively engage with their peers and adults in their new academic environment.
No, sometimes that is something that's perceived in the community if you are not familiar with Montessori. I always like to say we have more structure than most, because it just functions differently. So we spend so much time with children that are younger and building that internal structure that by the time they are in upper elementary, which is what I teach, the 4th through 6th grades, they have so much internal motivation that we as the guides are able to give them more freedom, but in direct correlation to what they're responsible for. So at any given time, the student shows a lack of responsibility, we just kind of scale down their freedom and help them build the skills they need to keep building that intrinsic motivation.
Montessori students typically do not receive letter or number grades for their work. Grades, like other external rewards, have little lasting effect on a student's effort or achievements. The Montessori approach nurtures the motivation that comes from within, kindling the child's natural desire to learn. A self-motivated learner also learns to be self-sufficient without needing reinforcement from outside. However, in the classroom environment, the guides are always available to provide students with guidance and support. Although most Montessori teachers don't assign grades, they closely and continuously observe and assess each student's progress and readiness to advance to new lessons. Having multiple adults in the classroom only makes this easier. Hillside holds family conferences, goal-setting conferences, and parent education through the year so that parents may see samples of their child's work and hear the teacher's assessment, and perhaps even their own child's self-assessment.
Absolutely. We definitely have a set of requirements and curriculum that we spend years not only learning from teacher trainers who have been in Montessori for many years, but compiling our own resources and creating our own manuals of Montessori specific lessons as well as general education requirements that you would expect. And we spend more time than you would imagine crafting our curriculum to make sure we know where each student is in our curriculum and the best path for them to continue to make progress.
So in upper elementary, we don't have what you might think of as traditional homework, as in like a packet or something that you have to go home and do every single night. But occasionally there will be a project that kids need to take home to work on with their parents. But we try to leave that time in the afternoon mainly for bonding with your family or playing outside or just enjoying the child's personal interests.
So one of the foundational skills in Montessori that we are attempting to encourage the child to learn is independence, and that helps the child to be more self-confident in themselves, and it helps the children to be able to help other children. The Montessori classroom has a 3-year cycle, so the children will be in the classroom for 3 years, and by their 3rd year, they are able to then give lessons to some of the 1st and 2nd year students, and that really helps them to internalize the work and to feel really good about themselves and that they are able to give this lesson the way that it is given to them.
Absolutely. Because each child has a kind of an individual learning plan for themselves, they each move along at their own pace. So children with special needs and accommodated any kind of special need, they can pretty much do that. We know how to handle them and what we need to do one-on-one and what we can do independently, and of course they're watching the other children all the time, so that's very, very helpful in this community. And then children who are advanced in a particular area or just across the board can also move along at their own pace without being impeded, because really the classroom spans, a 3-year classroom probably easily spans 5 or 6 years.
So those are just, we were creating our virtual open house last year instead of having people come in. Those were some of the questions that, okay, all right. Okay, so I have to move along pretty quickly now. I would like, instead of telling you the philosophy behind the adolescent program, just show you some slides of what our middle school students are involved in, and then follow that up with how that engagement outside the community beyond our school translates into academic performance. So here on this slide, you see students on their annual kayaking trip. You see students doing a year-long internship at Pinewoods Farm. Students in Atlanta with the Delta Flight Simulator program, practicing being pilots for a day. You can click, please. Here you see students engaging with Professor Echo Ivanka, who is a law professor at Cortez School in New York. During the Black Lives Matter movement, our students got very interested in political and criminal theory, and specifically in political obligation and justifications of punishment, and that's what Professor Echo specializes in. He is the lawyer for the Innocence Project, and so that's another opportunity, student-led opportunity that we're able to participate in. Let's see, this is a student taking a photograph at Fenway Park in Boston. I'm just going through. These are students building their own furniture for their classroom. Students at the Red Oak Bridge in Gay, Georgia, studying Horace King and the contributions that he made to our community. Students at Central Park in New York City. Students at our usually annual Empty Bowl lunch. They operate their small business accounts out of Colony Bank, so they got to be close with Mike Spade when he was at the bank, and so they're sitting at the table for the bank then. Students at the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. At LaGrange College Psychology Department with Dr. Hood, who developed the curriculum specifically for our school on human development. This is the Anderson Memorial Bridge, a student taken photograph at Harvard University in Cambridge. And then students working with the Chattahoochee Valley Food Bank in Columbus, learning about poverty and large-scale food distribution and how they can contribute to making sure that people are not hungry. And so this is kind of a year in the life of an adolescent. Well, they wouldn't go to Boston and New York in 1 year. They usually have one big trip. And I see that looks like some sort of kind of like they're part of an elitist institution. But the thing about that is the school nor the parents pay any money for those experiences. And those experiences, the students are either volunteering, providing their services for organizations, or they have raised every dime spent through their student-led small businesses. So they have to budget, they have to schedule, they have to go to the bank and balance their account. They have to work, and then with their business, when they make a mistake, they have to experience what it's like to make a mistake in the business and make up the difference. Last year, they got to go to Alabama because they didn't raise enough money to go somewhere else. So they don't always get to go to New York or Boston. So if you'll go to the next slide, page number 5, and I know it seems like we're spending a lot of time in the classroom. How do they do normal things like take a standardized test? And these are our last year's test scores for our 8th graders. Kind of a bad year overall for a lot of testing because of the time we spent. A lot of people spent out of school. I just got these back a few days ago though. But if you'll see across the board, 97th percentile of schools in the nation in language arts, 89th percentile in mathematics, 92nd percentile in science, 92nd percentile in schools nationwide in social studies, and then across the board, our 8th graders reading level was at the post-secondary college level. So it really is very possible to combine these real-world experiences, meaningful learning experience for children that translate onto pen and paper, regular academic work. These are our average scores over 3 years for 8th graders, all students testing between 11th and post-secondary level in all the subject areas. Well, I had some slides of our graduates because another question that we probably answer more than any other is how do students transition from Montessori to a traditional environment? Riley went from us to the LaGrange Academy, and she's a sophomore this year, and you don't have time, she says really nice things about her transition. And then we'll go to Boots. Boots is a senior at True Pie. He went from us a couple years at the LaGrange Academy, then to True Pie, also honor club member, AP college classes. He credits Montessori experience with his independence and his ability to accomplish things, self-led projects, like apparently wiring the lights in his house and redoing plumbing. I can't guarantee that from students, but and he's going to major in aviation. And then we have our very oldest graduate. She was in all of these were in our very first class in 2012. Ivy is a freshman in college now, and she is at Agnes Scott, and she went from us to the LaGrange Academy, and is a STEM scholar and a full scholarship recipient at Agnes Scott College right now. So that's just a handful of our graduates and how they're doing. And all of this leads us to after 10 years, we're ready to build a permanent home. We've been so fortunate to have the homes that we've had, but we are mindful of sustainability and of investing in the future. And we feel like The way to do that in an authentic way is to build a home that is a permanent home that we can invest in, and that our students and our families can call their own, and that we can use to provide opportunities for the community to come to us and for us to serve the community in more ways than we are right now. And so I hope you've had the opportunity to see the sign on Hilton Dells Farm Road, and if you go to the next one, Jaja, there are, this is our campus plan. You see, down at the bottom is the south end, and you drive north on Hilton Dells Farm Road. When you get to the to the circle, you've gone past the driveway. The driveway is a little south of the circle, and you come in, our school building is the kind of pinkish colored rectangle in the center there, and it's facing east towards the traffic circle. And small imprint of a facility you'll see there, and then lots of green space, and I guess you'll have to invite me back. Thank you so much.
Definitely, thank you so much, and I think we should invite you back and hear more about this, because when I saw that sign pop up, I was very interested to hear more about this project, and we're looking forward to it. You guys are such a strong piece of the fabric of our community, and we're so thankful for what you're doing here and will continue to do there. So thank you for being here. As for your speaking today, we're going to make a donation in your honor to Polio Plus, which is Rotary's initiative to rid polio rollout. So thank you very much. Nothing else, we are adjourned. Thank you so much. Hey, Bethany, that was fantastic.
Thank you, Jay.
My kids are, I mean, you I was singing a birthday song around the world. I goes around the song like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, unfortunately,